Jim, you were at the Scotland game. I know you didn't see the Jesse Creel stuff, but you must have been soaking in the atmosphere.
I was commentating, Andy Rowe, so I was more than sucking in the atmosphere. I was delivering the atmosphere to the airwaves. So thank you very much.
You sucked the atmosphere out of the game. What? No, true story though, Jim. I thought, and I'll say it to you, I do say it to you regularly, I thought you're outstanding on comms. And in the office this morning, I've had 3 of these lads come up to me in their white shirts, pristine, ironed and everything, in the office. They're like, I heard Jim on comms yesterday. How good's he? I said,
really?
He's a shithouse. He's a shithouse. No, they did.
All
Genuinely
bias.
did in the office. So
Yeah,
I thought you did a
thank you
really
for
good
that.
job. I don't know who the other
thank you
guy
for
was. Nick Mullins was class as well, but who's the other guy? But I thought you were great.
Stuttered a little bit at the start. Haven't done it for a while, and it's one of them, Goody. You need to do it every week, right? To be really, really on your game, like delivering context, and I just mentioned tone and all these different things, and detail and understanding of the game, and putting that across the airways is not easy, right? But very seldom get many opportunities now, and that was a massive opportunity for me on ITV. Second biggest game, arguably the biggest game if you're Scotland or South Africa. I'm going to say it was the biggest game of the weekend. World champions versus Scotland.
Definitely the biggest game.
Second biggest game.
It's like knockout rugby, almost.
I'm happy to say second biggest. Are you going opener was the biggest?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But don't take that from me just for that one. But I'm happy to say the second biggest game. So for me, it was a humbling experience. Absolutely loved it. And you think about everything that I've said in the lead up. Again, I've got South African fans going mad at me, like in a nice way, but they're quite aggressive, aren't they? Like, as in, you said Scotland were going to win. Yes, I said that with my heart. Okay, when you outline it, and we mentioned it last week, Scotland shouldn't beat South Africa, the world champions, everything's with it. I'm not going to talk about it again. But we gave an amazing account of ourselves in that first half. Like, we really did. And I thought we were going to be better second half. To go 6-3 in at half-time was a bit of a result for us. Physically, we stood up to them. At the scrum, we got a penalty just before the half as well, which was brilliant. I didn't think South Africa would play.
Worst thing that happened to you though, that wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the worst thing because it pissed them off. They went in and they were absolutely raging. Apparently, they trashed the dressing room. They didn't. I'm just saying that because they came out angry. But I didn't think South Africa would play the way that they played in the first half. They found an Achilles heel in the Scotland team that I didn't think existed, and that was the high balls. That was the crossfield kicks to Darcy, to Blair Kinghorn, to Douans each side. Manny Lebok, I thought, was sensational throughout the whole game. And then when in the second half, they went back to a bit of type. So they went physical, round the corner. They obviously got the penalty from the scrum straight away in the second half, kick to the corner. I'm kind of rushing through the archives and setting the scene of the game. Physically got dominated in the second half. That was obvious to see. The scoreline obviously reflected that as well. The line-out didn't function. So we didn't give ourselves... So we concentrated so much on the scrum, which up until the second half was very good, almost dominant at times, but we couldn't win a bloody line-out.
Yeah,
dominant scrum
at one point, yeah.
South Africa have never... Andrew,
there was a slip.
South Africa haven't lost... They haven't lost a scrum in a year. In a year.
You said you dominated it.
We got a penalty, mate. We hosed them off the ball. You don't see them. They've stood up. Mal Herber was like literally... He was in my commentary box.
I thought Scotland were going to win it at that stage where they hosed them in 2 scrums. And I was like, what's going on here?
Hosed them. I like that, Andy Rowe.
Yeah.
You've been blinded by my love.
Hosed them. Blinded. Kiwis are Scots as well, aren't they?
Look at him. Look at Goody now because they beat
deluded.
Argentina.
How are you, boys? England, top of the world.
But yeah, it was. We didn't take our chance. Darcy Graham had the 2-on-1 down the wing, and
Massive
our
moment.
line out. A massive moment. Our line out didn't function either, and I saw Finn before the game, and actually looked at some footage and stuff that was doing the rounds on South Africa, how they played against Scotland before with Finn, always putting them on the floor. Their line speed on that outside channel, Peter Steph Toy kept talking about the edge on comms and people didn't know what I was talking about, is, Goody, you know as well, and I think Finn said it to me, he's going to have to pull a rabbit out of the hat in order to get the ball, and it nearly happened. There was one with Hugh Jones that we saw, but it was, we just couldn't deal with the physicality, with the line speed in that second half especially.
What do you mean the South Africans are offside all the time?
Thank you, Goody.
There he is. Get on board, Goody.
We got robbed. Yeah, you're right. Peter Steph can never be that quick. He's so slow normally, which he isn't. Yeah, we just couldn't deal with it. Like, and Finn,
it's horrible.
I think
genuinely, I'm looking at Finn, and he's got all the magic you need, Finn, right, as a player. And when you've got that outside channel flying up, and they're not just like little wingers flying up into the passing lane, they're big boys. Could they have pulled out a kicking game to try and take some speed off it? Should they have adapted and tried to go through them a little bit? Stand wide and run sort of angles on unders to try and cut in between defenders. It's really hard. Like, when you get a blitz right and your numbers up in blitz, it's your 10's worst nightmare, because you are literally trying to pull the rabbit out of the hat. So I did feel for Finn. I've been there. You can't see any space. You just see monsters everywhere, and all I thought was fucking kick it when I played. So it's hard for Finn. He's still trying to pull the magic out, offloading. But like Jim said, the one thing that won that game for South Africa was physicality. That in the second half, Scotland were very good in that first half, competitive in that area. The defence was huge. They were taking it to the South Africans at times. A couple of offloads didn't quite go their way, but it's just the relentlessness of the South Africans. And you bring on the bomb squad, and then the scrum just got absolutely annihilated in the second half. Scotland's scrum did. I felt sorry for WP Nell at times. He's about 46. And Xander Fagerson's wound him up, and then he gets hooked off after 46 minutes, and there you go, son. and then you get the head shoved up your arse. And he's a class operator, WP now, usually in scrums. It just shows how powerful, how big the South African team are. And it's about physicality. The game's won on physicality now.
The laws of physics, Andrew, as your mum taught me, well, she kind of said it a few times. I didn't know what she meant back then, but I kind of do. If she used the analogy of monsters and South Africa, I would now know what she means.
There you go. Just listen at school, James, and you would have helped yourself on comms. You should have got laws of physics in yesterday.
Yeah, well, I'll get it in the next time. I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm not doing another one, but yeah, next time.
Jim, you touched on Manny Lebok.
Oh, good.
I mean, that no-look kick. What?
Unreal. No look. He was looking straight into Gilco's eyes, Grant Gilchrist. Yeah. He were looking into his soul when he kicked that kick.
It was scary.
And he was like, you mother beeper. And he just literally was like, have that. Unreal. Goody spoke him up loads.
Yeah. Mate, I get doing crossfield kicks, right? And they used to come off my shin, off my knee, off my ankle. I get doing a crossfield kick, right? And like pretending not to look. But you pretend not to look before you kick it, and then you focus on the ball, right? That's what everyone does. Marnie Lebok has seen the space, and then he's dropped it on his foot without even looking. That is the most ridiculous bit of skill I've seen in years and years and years and years. The way he's just looked, as Jim says, at Grant Gilchrist, through him, into his soul, seeing what he's had for dinner, seeing what he's had for breakfast the day before, and then the actual picture, it's a brilliant picture, a still. Like, watch the replays, of course, but the still of him looking and still kicking the other way was just ridiculous. And it was on a sixpence as well. Arensa doesn't even have to break stride, and he's jogging into the corner. Absolute quality. The best bit of skill I've seen in God knows how long. Since Carlos used to put it off his knee or flick one the other way. In fact, since I did one against Harlequins for Leicester, the old reverse no-look kick. But Marnie Lebok, class. If he could sort his goal kicking out, he'd be up there with the best 10s in the world. And that could be
that's the
Achilles heel.
Well, you mentioned the Achilles heel because that is the one thing, the question mark. They got asked in the press conference after, and Sia came straight in to support him and said, look, we've got Cheslin Colby, we've got Faf de Klerk. He's our general. Like, we follow Money around like he is running the show. But you've got to say, they're going to say that, of course they are, but it is the one question mark over them. And we've seen the World Cups, the fly halves, the influence that they've had. Mentioned it before, Joel Stransky 95, the big one, Johnny Wilkinson in 2003, the big one if you're English.
Steve Donald.
Obviously, Stephen Donald as well. And Dan Carter as well, whenever he played. So South Africa go all the way. Well, we'll see if it proves to be an issue. But no, world class by Lebok, and it was a joy to be there to watch the world champions. You know, South Africa are my second team, I'll be honest with you. That is because, one, I'm a Glory supporter.
Hold on.
You know. Yeah.
You said you're English on my voice note. You said we.
No, I sound English. But I played like a South African.
Pod.
Rugby pod.